Ruining the Batavian merchant navy today, guys. It's all about the merchant navies for both sides. And that... oh, it's a spectacle. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Napoleon at Total War, of course, as the British. We are on turn 25, so we are just starting our new in-game year. We're on January 1806, and we have, of course, taken the Iberian Peninsula. We've taken Madrid, Pamplona, Navarra, and of course retaken Gibraltar, which is excellent. So Spain, as a nation, now only stands on Parma, which is absolutely hilarious. But that is a small milestone we now need to overcome to completely wipe out Spain and make sure that we can fully control or have complete dominance over the Strait of Gibraltar over here, and therefore good access to these trade nodes, which is absolutely important to have and vital for, of course, a increasingly strong trade income there. We can see that there's actually one node at least for ivory and one for tea over here. What we need to do is go to the trade tab. We can see that tea goes for 36 gold, which is, looking at it, yeah, absolutely the second highest income from a trade import there. Ivory is going at 67, which is absolutely huge in the quantities we want to sell it on. So we do need to get a good amount of merchantman trade ships over here to this ivory node, and we can certainly do that with the trade port over here, which we have taken in Gibraltar. We do, of course, have some across the Madrid region as well, the closest one being in Cadiz over here. So we're going to get up a few of these immediately to bolster our income, and we will want to just place some frigates, I think, and there are some cheap escorts and defence for that, because of course France will still have a navy as well as the Batavian Republic, and we do see some ships in this port, which is in fact ours now. But these ships, two ships, belong to the Spanish, and that should be their whole navy, aside from this node over here, which is 3 ships, and we are poised to attack that. We do have a 98 gun second rate here, which is excellent. We do have a lovely Rizzi, which I want to try out, and 2 admirals over here as well. So I think we're going to take these off immediately, actually. And this should be a fairly straightforward battle, as ever, with only 2 merchantman ships, 12 guns each, and a 24-gunner corvette. So this should be fairly easy indeed. Well, with the wind against us, we have managed to get into some sort of position to get in amongst these enemy ships. We can see the Admiral over here, acting Admiral, is wavering a tad, but because he's so quick, we're not able to get into a good position with our mainline ship over here, which is having to now come into the wind. We have managed to turn it around, so hopefully that catches up and gets into range of something. We might want to turn it around here to get a long broadside onto the acting Admiral over here, and that should stop the enemy trade ships, which are eluding us because they're that much quicker than our larger ships. They look rather imposing because they stand so tall, and their masts and sails absolutely huge. We're going to turn around here though, so that we can get some sort of shots on. I'm going to go to round shots. We're trying to limit the enemy's manoeuvrability. We're going to turn around with our Admiral over here. Hopefully, just about in range over here. Looks like we have just fired off though. Getting some massive shots onto the port side of this acting Admiral over here. Absolutely huge there. We are battering that side of the hull there. We're going to give a direct firing order there. Keep that on target. Turn round over here. Get some shots hopefully down the length of this trade ship, so that hopefully we get some ranged round shots into the masts and down those. Make this a sitting duck is the plan, at least, but just a little too close to get those higher range shots there, but not to worry, that is still some good damage there. And we can see one of the merchantmen is starting to think about surrendering. Hopefully we are able to claim these. I don't want to start any boarding actions just yet, but hopefully we can claim them to force some free shipping at the end of the battle. You can see we're nearly sinking this just because of the full force of the battering we're giving this ship over here. It looks like that trade ship's not doing too well either. Let's try and turn out once again to get a more full broadside there. What are we doing over here? Let's turn around to get something out here and just block this in with this corvette here. Try and turn, just not quite manoeuvrable enough with, of course, the larger ship of the line here. Not sure what's going on with the indicators here, but not to worry. We can move, I think we can move around here, get some broadsides out to try and get on the flank once again. Use the wind to turn around this way with our admiral. Moving over here. See a massive amount of shots coming in here, ripping through the sails, slowing that down. We're going to see a point blank shot out here, are we? Have we just fired it? Yes, we absolutely are. Absolutely disgusting there. Very lucky actually this ship isn't exploding here and now. Because that will hurt our own ship, of course. Look at that. Absolutely ripped apart the starboard side hull there. And we can just drop anchor here. And actually that is in fact surrendering. Massive volley out onto the trade ship over here as well. And that's thinking about surrendering now. The admiral's surrendering. So we can turn out here. How about this one? We need to get some more direct damage going here. Let's turn around. This is our Razzie over here, so it should be pretty damn decent on the reload skill there. And excellent for short range fire. And short range fire we're certainly getting here. Can drop anchor. Might actually want to tempt a boarding action here. Can we get that down? There's only 42 crew alive on this trade ship, whereas we have 129, so that shouldn't be particularly difficult at all. And it's just a case of bringing around our extra ships here to get in line to actually shoot on here. We've actually lost a mast. We've lost our rear mast. That's interesting. Very lucky shot out there, of course. This ship's thinking about retiring and surrendering. Is that going to be before we're able to board it and claim the ship for ourselves? Quite possibly there's long range shots coming out here. And we weren't actually able to board that ship, but we were able to claim the corvette and a merchantman. I think we are going to claim those. And that'd be a very nice bolster to our fleet there, as well as some extra income from that merchantman. So we're going to send the fleet back to repair entirely here. That has freed up, of course, some security in this region from the Spanish Navy, which is excellent. So, do we want to spend our money on anything else? Well, one goal of today is actually starting to think about recruiting a third full army so that we can actually look at going towards Denmark and Norway, because taking Denmark is actually a victory condition for us. If we go towards those, that's the wrong tab, victory conditions, we need to take Denmark itself. We actually need to go for Hanover as well, quite likely because of our Hanoverian connections in the British royalty there. So that's rather interesting. That will mean we're going to have to go to war with Prussia just for Hanover later on, but that's going to be a long-term final goal there, I think, because of course we need to get rid of Napoleon himself first. But I think going for Copenhagen and Norway over here would be excellent, because you can see there's more trade ports, there's another school here, there's another banking house over here, which does belong to Norway, which is excellent. It's not in the region of Mecklenburg. So that'd be a great money maker and another avenue for recruitment over here for later on. So we're going to spend the rest of our money on, I think, some infantry for ourselves. We're going to make this a somewhat more elite army. We're certainly getting some Royal Fusiliers out. So I think 4 of those. We're going to get out some... we don't have access to the heavier cavalry anymore, which is rather unlucky. Although it is 7 turns for the drill school to come up, which will give us more options later on. That's rather interesting indeed. because I wouldn't mind making this a more new model type army with these new options, especially since we get grenadiers from it. That's rather interesting. And Royal British Marines is a different one as well. But should be fine to get our standard troops out for the conquest of the northern regions over here. And that's all of our money gone for this turn at least. And of course we will have Sir John Moore over here as a general. He does have more command in land battles, less losses in attrition, which is great. More movement range, even better, and a little boost to morale as well, which is very, very nice indeed. So that would be a great way to train up this army as well as taking Norway and Denmark. I'll probably go straight for Denmark, as that's where the main army is, of course, and we can take that in one go. And down here, is there anything else we need to do in the border regions here? We can see a French army coming in headed by Jean Reynier, but we're not got the movement to actually sabotage that just yet. So that's going to have to be allowed to come down in our region over here to sabotage that, so that we can replenish a little easier with Wellesley over here. And it would be a good idea to increase our roads as well, improve our roads in both Barcelona and Pamplona as well. But I think that's it for this turn. That's all we can do. Let's get on. And actually at the end turn, Spain is offering peace. We're not going to take it. We do need to take Parma for a victory objective, so that's going to be a hard no there, unfortunately, for them. And we have unlocked Diamond Formation. That is something I was not keeping an eye on, but not to worry. We have a spy network over here, but that's going to end very quickly, although it does give us sight towards the Marseille border, which means we can see there's nothing coming from there, which is excellent news. However, looks like Napoleon over here is recruiting, or actually what looks like he has done a unit transfer with Jean Reynier. Let's double check this army. There's no general there. Does make me wonder where Reynier is gone, because he won't have been simply disbanded. And now Napoleon does have a full stack, and that is not good news at all. Let's move over here so we get Saison Bordeaux. Not quite good enough there. So we don't see Reynier. I do really wonder where he's gone if that's the case. He wouldn't have had the movement to come all the way down here and hide in these trees. Do we have the movement? We don't have the movement to go to Napoleon. What would be the sabotage chance there? 25% anyway, so it's not likely going to happen, unfortunately, there. So we are going to have to bring over both armies. I think we have, 2 turns until this Royal Fusilier unit is fully replenished. And that will be everything in the army. So that's a decent fighting power there. How are we looking in Gibraltar? We're looking at actually creating a tax office there, so we get more income from that. I'm not interested in making this a recruiting province. Let's come out of there, see what the public order's like. Actually, public order is very good, so we can now move towards the northern region over here, I think. Or do we go straight for Parma, just to get that out of the way? I think we play it safe for a couple of turns. We replenish, move up to the northern regions, just in case there is a nasty French army skulking about over here. We will need 2 armies. We of course have our recruitment from the previous turn. Trait gained for Jos Hathaway the Gentleman, and that will give him some military boost to our research there. Far in advance we could go for, it's not necessarily bad. Army Corps organisation would be very useful though for that reduction on upkeep, so we're certainly going to go for that. That only takes 4 turns as well. Are we upgrading the college over here? We certainly are. It'll take 3 turns, not to worry there. So we're going to boost up this army once again. Let's just bring in John Moore already, so we can visualise the strength of this a little easier. Going to start with some, do we want 6-pounder cannons? They certainly help. Let's get 2 units of those. Our line infantry so far is 6 units strong. Let's go for, we're limited on King's German. We get 1 more unit of these. How much different are they? Melee attack 11 with 7 morale. Tiny bit more attack on these because they're chevroned. British Dutch Legion. Let's go for the light dragoons. I like to have 4 units of cavalry for that aggressive option there. And we're going to go for some Lightfoot as well. Just looking at the accuracy, 30 to 38 there with equal morale. So let's go for a couple units of that, and that'd be excellent. And of course, we have to remember the rest of our navy over here. We're going to send this merchantman. Do we want to send it to this cotton? Possibly, but I think it would be a decent idea to come up to one of the cottons or tobaccos over here. Let's double check the price of these things. Coffee to cotton is 34, furs 25, tobacco 26. So we'll send it to one of the cottons over here to bolster our income through there. And that's bolstered it by nearly 500, which is very nice indeed. Let's take this repaired navy over here, and we might want to just raid a few French ports. So let's raid Brest over here once again. That's blockading there. That's very interesting indeed. We'll be blockading over here as well. So let's blockade the commercial port to cut off some income there. And with this massive navy, do we want to... I think we scout out Parma. Try and get some sites over here. We do actually see a Batavian trade there. Unfortunately, Denmark is on the ivory, which is rather nasty. But we can go for the tea right outside of us, which is the next best option. And that will be absolutely brilliant. So with just those two trade ships, that's 1,100 coming in there, which is excellent. We're on 6.6 thousand income there. Diminished a little, of course, by our recent recruitment, and now that we're not raiding a trade routes with Nelson over here. And of course, we really should have thought about this Batavian merchant navy over here before we sent out our new trade ships. We're going to have to retreat from this, but Nelson is, of course, nearby to take all of these trade ships. They're 58 gunner trade ships, which is rather heavy for that role. Even heavier than this frigate over here. Rather nasty piece of work indeed, but we are going to have to retreat from this one. They may well catch up. We may well have to say goodbye to that, which is very sad. It's an oversight I keep making, but not to worry. Very replaceable units. We do, of course, have Nelson to get revenge soon. So, of course, with that enter, we do have the fleet destroyed there. Buildings, we have cobbled roads in Spain, which is excellent. That will help out our movement and, of course, replenishment. The replenishment there is very nice indeed. And the most major threat at the moment is, of course, Napoleon bearing down on us. He's lost a few units. It's a very cavalry-heavy army here. And that, if you ask me, works in our favour because we can play fairly defensively with our infantry-heavy army here. We just need to perform some squares and we'll be absolutely fine. Having said that then, what do we want to do? Do we want to sabotage Napoleon? Probably not. We want to let him come in. I think we want to try and sabotage more minor armies over here to stop reinforcements. 47% chance there. Terrible. 56 over here. Try and sabotage this one then. And that has succeeded, which is excellent. So, we certainly want to keep bringing up Michael Stoll. Recruitment has happened. Excellent. Spy, 1 subterfuge for infiltration over here. Excellent. And we'll keep this here because we do have the spy network covering France. That gives us some good sight to see what the French are doing over here. Now the question with over here, how do we defend? Do we take an ambush? I think we do. I think we try and get an ambush battle on. So we will move out of Pamplona here, just inside our own territory, so we're not taking any attrition over here, which is excellent. And we are still replenishing in case Napoleon doesn't want to move in. But it's looking like we are going to have to ambush Napoleon. That'd be excellent. Nullify his cannons just from that. And that will give us some good firing commands out onto his cavalry immediately. Let's just make sure we're recruiting properly over here once again before we engage in any combat. So we have room for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more units after the cannons. We might want 1 more unit of lights, and then of course just some more infantry. Standard infantry will do there, and that's excellent. That'll be a full army. We can send that on over with, I think, this navy over here. which we will try and bolster actually, give it some more backbone. And what do we want? Bomb catchers are always quite fun to use. We'll take one of those, and we'll take a lighter ship of the line here. We'll take a 64 gunner there. Nothing too dangerous should come out of the Batavians and such. Can we actually see what they have over here? No, but they're being blockaded by Russia, which is very, very useful indeed. And that should be that for recruitment. Let's see about this navy over here, try and get some revenge. We have the new addition of the HMS Elephant, which is a 74 gunner. And they are going to retreat, but they're going to back themselves into a corner, and we're certainly going to take this fight. Now, they do have a lot of guns in this battle, but it is largely merchantmen, so their whole strength should be fairly low. And in fact, it is, but it's still 2.1 thousand. How does that rank up towards, well, we don't have any lighter frigates, so we can't really compare that. But it's heavier, again, heavier than the 32 gunners, which is very interesting. Let's get going with this battle. Okay, so before we press start, let's just run down what we are planning here. We're sending the lighter, as far as this particular fleet is concerned, the lighter ships, the Elephant and the 98 gunner over here ahead, and that's so that they can use the movement with the wind behind their sails to push them, to propel them forwards into the enemy formation, which is a simple 2-column over here, which is excellent. We generally like to deploy in a sort of wide open wedge so that we do have maneuverability options and so that we have overlapping fire as well. We're hoping to send this 106 gunner out towards the northern part of the ocean over here to try and hem the enemy in case they do decide to go for that particular area. So let's jump forwards and try and engage the enemy, shall we? So we are just coming into the range of their front firing guns. We do need to turn out a little bit over here to get some early shots on from the Elephant here. Is that going to be in range? It should be. It looks like it. Not quite going to fire up. That's absolutely fine. We can curl around then. Come a little closer. Come to the rear of the enemy. They've not moved too much. Still staying in their simple line and column formations there, which is excellent. We are going to just turn out over here with our 74 gunner. Well chevron 74 gunner. Absolutely helping out our reload there. We're going to have to move closer though with these outlying ships, because we guessed wrong and the enemy is not going to move out to the southern sector there. Bring those in. Have just missed that opening salvo there. That's absolutely fine. We can see we've wrecked a few sails which were coming out. So this is the acting admiral with a 74 gunner of his own. We're going to try and drop anchor here so that he does move into our line there. We can see the Elephant firing out there. Excellent. Rips through these shown sails but doesn't bring down a mast, unfortunately, which is what we're hoping for with those longer range shots. If we drop anchor here, we do have a minor T to cross there, but we are going to move in as that moves up into its broadside range, not to worry. Once again, another full salvo out. Some very nice damage there, taking away a few guns from their port side there. I love it. This is Nelson coming up over here. We're going to push forwards right into the enemy's face there, and that will blast away their holes. So it looks like they're firing us onto the Elephant there, who is returning a massive salvo out there. Absolutely brilliant to see. We are going to just carry on with round shots. There's no need to hit the enemy's sails at the moment, especially since they're not fully shown with an empty mast over here. Look at that. It's great to get some naval action in on this Napoleon series because it's very integral parts to a Napoleon experience, especially as the British. It's not something you see so often with people like Austria and such. Let's fire on this 32 gun frigate. Move in over here. Very tempted to change the chain shot over here because the sails are out, but not to worry. We are going to fire us onto the Indiaman there. We'll just carry on with this firing order. And that is quite likely to turn around and cross RT there because the direct firing order has whiffed the manoeuvrable side there, but not to worry. Firing us onto Nelson, are they? Which is rather interesting, rather brave of them. What we're going to do is we are going to push in here and close ourselves there. That might just miss through our mast there, which is excellent. Yeah, that has crossed our T there. So we're just going to move in over here once again. Full sail, please. And you can see our other ships just not quite able, even with the wind behind their sails pushing them forwards, we can't have the speed to catch up with the enemies and get into a decent firing range there. Crossing over here, you can see the port side hull is rather damaged over here, but he's still fairly confident apparently. Just missing out onto the firing orders here, but we should move in and get a good broadside into this 32 gunner here. In fact, what we'll do is we will hold fire until the opportune moments, which is about now. Very, very nice indeed. Very, very nice indeed there. In a bit of a pickle with all of these ships surrounding us, but not to worry, we can certainly take the hits there with our superior hull strength. Just tie those up while we deal with the Admiral. We're going to have to move in here a little further, aren't we? Or much further, in fact. Huge shots through there. A little too far range to actually hit the hull too precisely. Not to worry. It's a secret or secondary advantage of these low-lying ships here is this longer range shots will just fly over the hulls. I'm going to just push on through here so we do get out of the firing angles. In fact, this might just move into our own firing angle here. Are we reloaded with most guns? We're reloaded with a few. Enough to fire out, of course. And that should be absolutely devastating to that hull. Firing out on our port side as well to the Cerberus over here. Absolutely brilliant to see. Absolutely brilliant. We are going to keep moving though as much as we can. It's tempting to start a boarding action here, but I think we need to just keep moving and get some guns firing, don't we? Speaking of which, we are finally pulling up with the rest of our ships of the line here, which will be a great help. I think we get right in amongst the enemy with our larger ships here, including Nelson. Doing some nasty damage once again to this ship here. We do need to focus the port side if possible. We're going to turn around here if we can. Get some nice shots out. This ship, the Batavia. Excellent. Ruining the Batavian merchant navy today, guys. It's all about the merchant navies for both sides. And that... oh, it's a spectacle. Absolutely brilliant spectacle to see. Going to drop anchor and let that happen again. How are we doing over here with the elephants? Interesting. We're pretending we're hiding amongst the enemy here. Let's move out. Let's cross their T's and get some shots out amongst them. Lovely shots into the rear of this ship. In fact, wavering it so much it is thinking about surrendering already. Let's turn around where possible. Get some massive broadside out here with our 98 gunner. Almost in friendly fire there. That's going to rip straight through the sails there. Extreme range ruining that for us a little. But if we turn in, that has actually ruined our reload for this shot over here, unfortunately. But not to worry, we're going to come in with a huge pounding there just to keep their morale in check in our favour. And there's a mast going down. I love the spectacle. Napoleon and Empire have the greatest looking naval battles, if you ask me. We can drop anchor here, I think. No, in fact, we're just going to turn a little tighter. Look at that. Look at that. Now we can drop anchor and keep firing on that. Just keep that in check. How are we doing over here? Not doing too bad at all, are we? Let's turn around once again. How are we doing over here? Getting a little skirmish off. Oh, you love to see it. You love to see it. Do need to keep pace with that though. Acting Admiral, still going to take a beating. Let's move around here. Try and get some massive volleys out here. How are we doing? We've not got the reload here to fire on this. It looks like we have just recently fired. Speaking of fires, there's one. We're going to have to move out there because that will likely explode. Look at the massive fire rising up through the mast there. There's smoke on that, really thick, billowing out. And if that explodes, that will likely take our Dragon, the 98 gunner, with it. Lots of crossfire over onto multiple enemy ships here, which is excellent. We are finally circling this acting admiral though. Say acting. Actually, no, he is a true admiral. He does have a character portrait and name, so likely has some traits with him. So, how are we reloading here? We have recently fired out. And there we go, very nice victory indeed, if I may say so myself. And we picked up all of these merchant ships. We're going to leave the 32 gunner, don't really want that. We do get some good prize money as well, which is excellent. Tiny bit there now because we do take the Indian, but that's absolutely fine. Looking for the long-term benefits of having that bolstered merchant navy there. And Horatio now has +1 more command when leading ships of the line, which is of course the bulk of his fleet. So, we'll send this over to repair, and then we can get on top of the T once again. In fact, I think we can try and get on top of that now, just to control the node for the sake of it, and that's excellent. So, let's see what we can do about Napoleon bearing down on us now, shall we? And that will end the video there, I think. And it is, in fact, an ambush battle, very nicely indeed. Once again, a lot of cavalry, a lot of chasseurs cheval, and 3 units of 12-pounder cannons, and some rather nasty infantry, as always, from the French. And French-Irish Legion, in fact, with 25 morale. Absolutely huge. 22 morale on the Swiss line there. They're going to be a tough nut to crack, but we do have a good advantage in the surround, and the cavalry should not be particularly difficult to wipe out. Okay, so rather interesting deployment despite it being an ambush battle. Of course, Napoleon, being the higher command star general, we can't see where he's deployed. He does deploy second, so we're going to have to put a little bit of guesswork into where he's going to concentrate his forces. So I would imagine they'll be concentrated in this sort of area over here, but they may well be very spread out in these small area they do get. So we've put our elite units over to one side over here, backed up by Wellesley, of course. And we are going to sit on top of the minor hill over here with our cannons, protected by our cavalry and some skirmishers over here. The idea is that, of course, if they do try to charge these skirmishers, we can just come in with our cavalry and the cannons should pound them fairly easily on the approach. A little bit awkward though, because the elevation is up and down in sight over here, but I think that's the best we're going to get so far. We could even try to move through here and up the hill, in fact. That might actually not be a bad idea thinking about it now. We can pull them back, and that at least will give us some good sight through here. And that's all we really need. Once again, protected by the line infantry there. And yet they're actually all in one area there. That's rather interesting. Okay, that's negated the use of our cannons. So let's unlimber. We're going to have to pull around over here when we can. And that has put the units in this area in a bit of a pickle. So we're going to have to instantly go around. That's rather annoying. It's rather annoying. We get to push in, of course. We'll just push in very carefully here. Press play. Yeah, that'll do. We do have some elevation of fire actually over our line infantry there, which is excellent. And we'll pull around over here. So what are they going to do with their cavalry is the question. We do have the trees over here to help us against them, and instantly make a square here because they're going straight for the charge with their lancers. Getting some good shots off to deter them. Excellent, but they are coming in once again over here, are they? They're wondering about it, they're thinking. Let's push in a little harder over here. Join up there. Grenadiers. Swiss Grenadiers do have some decent morale and some good melee stats actually, so quite lucky these are the ones having formed the square. If they do decide to make contact, and here we go. Reforming our square weirdly there, which is not ideal. They are moving in with Napoleon himself. Oh, is he in range? No, he's thinking about getting in range. Have unlimited with our cannons. Let's pull them back over here. Needs to double time this really. Get Wellesley to support our morale over here. Yeah, rousing a lot of the French cavalry has made a bit of a double backing on us there. Square up. 2 squares. Might have to overlap there. That is hurting their morale though. Okay, we can remove these squares and tidy up a tad. We will shoot them when they retreat into us here. It's this infantry I'm fairly worried about though. Napoleon deciding he's going to sort out the day. Or is he retreating for his life there? Let's move around. Just a quick turn there. Unlimit the cannons. Move in with this infantry to support. Getting some chevrons, are they, over here? We do need Wellesley to help out there, and I think actually what we need to do is perform a very small firing line here and shoot the enemy in the back. Thinking about charging in here, are they? Do we need to square up? What are these? Chasseurs Cheval? Probably don't need to square up then. Might be able to get a volley on. I would be able to take this charge. That's absolutely fine. Fairly thick lines for them to penetrate through. That's absolutely fine. That has ruined their morale. Fusiliers, not so easily rebuked there. Let's fire out. We don't quite have the line I was hoping for here. About face, please. And that's going to put us into trouble with their infantry. We about face because Napoleon is in fact behind us. We turn around here to support our infantry. How are we doing over here? These grenadiers are rather battered, rather beaten up. We're going to have to watch over here. Let's bring our own cavalry into play. Bring them on this flank over here. Yeah, the general is a little threatened here. This is a very, very messy ambush indeed. Push on here to protect our general. Okay, what have we done with Napoleon? I can't see him about anywhere, but we're going to have to take this area here. We are still about face to deal with Napoleon. That's rather embarrassing. Move in here, of course. Do we square up here? Don't think we need to. They only have 19 cavalrymen there. Light, yep, they're dealt with. Light infantry might just have to sit out for now. Our grenadiers over there, after taking the massive charge, have finally routed. Square up here. Get behind our men there with our general. We do need to sprint as quickly as possible there. We need to move up here to get on the enemy's flank. Provide some support. Just double checking with Wellesley here actually. Let's stop here so we can fire on the Chasseurs Cheval's flank and force them to retreat off fully. Force engagement with our heavy cavalry. I don't know where Napoleon went. He must have disappeared. Yeah, we can see the command star over here retreating. That's excellent. So no supports there. We just need to batter the strong infantry corps there now then, because the cavalry is completely routed off. In fact, our Swiss Grenadiers can come back and hide in here because they have taken a huge amount of losses there. Quite inevitable with them taking the brunt of the charges. We don't need a square here anymore, and that can give us a good firing line from the tree cover onto the side of the regiment en Tanger. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but we're going to try. Let's see. Of course, oh dear, moving a little too far there. Let's spread out, move there a tad better. I think we do a very hard charge into the back of these cannons over here. Then we can charge into the regiments over there. Just go around. Morale not doing great over here, unfortunately. Where is Wellesley to support? Let's bring him over here. Very, very messy ambush. But we'll make it. Here is the charge coming in. Only to the cannons very quickly here, but that can move on to the colonne attack. With our mass cavalry over here. Where do I want to put them? I think we put them over here actually with the Swiss and the French mariners over here. Marinieri, so Marines of course. Let's... don't know why I said mariners, that's completely different. How are we doing with morale? Just a little threaten over here. Okay, let's move on to the Swiss over here. I should do that with the heavy cavalry. The light cavalry can take on the retreating units just to make sure they don't return. It's a shame our cannons aren't having the greatest of impacts there. We probably need to cycle charge here, so let's come out. Have at least confused the enemy. Broken their formation. We might want to... I don't know if we're struggling with the lip of the hill here, actually. Let's try and get on top of there. Double time that, of course. Charge coming in over here onto the Swiss. Excellent. Very lovely rear charge on some tired regiments as well. Excellent. Chasing down over here. How's this going? We haven't fully disengaged, unfortunately. Let's take this unit. Keep over here. And come back in, and that is pretty much everything cleared up. Just these two units over here, which do need to fully break. And that should happen now that we are preparing to fire once again. Coming in for some support here, which is brilliant. We can cycle charge them once again once we reform our cavalry. Just make sure we keep on top of the enemy over here. Not entirely sure why morale's dipping here. We do have the massive advantage there. They're squaring up because of our nearby cavalry, which is excellent. And that is some routing core. We do have some returning units, so we'll just send our cavalry against them. Once again, the French morale did hold out for quite some time, and that did give them the opportunity to run down our men a little bit. And that is probably the most disgusting looking ambush I have seen for quite some time. But that unit is completely routed, shattered off, chasing off over there, shattered the colonne attack here, and we only have the French-Irish Legion routing now to remove. Let's come on top of them. In fact, that is a total victory, a heroic victory, and I don't know, messy, absolutely very, very disgusting to watch. But we got the job done, and that is holding off the French from our newly acquired Spanish territory for that much longer. And we lost less than I thought we might there at 725. Enemy has 240 remaining. Let's see if that does remove them completely. Do escape with one regiment there. So, with that being done, let's pull back. I think we might replenish a little better in the Madrid region. And we did actually manage to keep hold of our Swiss Grenadiers, which is excellent. So, a very, very nice ambush indeed. That's pushed back Napoleon. We get +4 morale, 1 prestige, because we're a popular hero with Arthur Wellesley now, which is absolutely brilliant. We have, of course, our recruitment in London there, and we have a merchant house in Spain, and we have the magistrates in Pamplona as well, boosting our income. We are, of course, suffering from that a little bit because of our new army, of course, but we can afford it. This is not a problem. We do have a little bit of money in the bank there. And that is looking absolutely brilliant. So, largely on the defence today, sourcing out our merchant navies, and of course that will be part of the problem with our upkeep, is having all of these new ships to look after. But with them being merchantmen, they will pay for themselves in the long run. That's well, it's even more than 500 now, because it does grow and dip in and out as the trade values shift. But let's look at their upkeep. So that's 74, so they pay for themselves many times over by being sat on top of a trade node, which is excellent. So that'd be brilliant when we do finally get those in action there in the correct places. Let's have a look at our army over here. We've over-recruited a tad there. That's absolutely not a problem. We will just disband that unit then. And that is a new army ready to pounce onto Denmark and Norway in the future. And as a side note, Prussia is going hard. They've taken Brussels in the Netherlands, which is absolutely huge. That is a massive Prussian offensive going through Hanover, Cleves and to Brussels. Very surprised Napoleon thought we were the threat today. But not to worry, that does give us more experience in looking actually at our prestige, where of course the top people in Europe. Very interestingly followed by Austria there, and that's held of course by their standing military. They've made gains into the Balkans, looking at the map down there. Very, very interesting indeed. The French very much on the back foot in this particular campaign overall, which is not something you see very often. Generally, France will push very hard into the southern and central Germany and into Austria, which is very, very interesting to see the difference here now. So that will be the end of the video there today, everyone. I have to say thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. Please do let me know in the comments section. It's always very fun to read and engage with you there. So thank you once again very much for watching, but I shall see you in the future. May all of your nights and days be auspicious. Goodbye.